Welcome to the Squared Circle Gridiron. I am Don Wayne. To my right is Ron. Below me, off of work release, is Philly Fitter. He's back. Where you been, Ricky?
We had our union meeting Christmas party last week. So
the judge let you out, huh?
The judge let me out, yeah.
Well, I want to thank everybody for coming on and joining the show.
What's up, Matty?
Think we got a lot to talk about today. I would like to quote the great Patrick Mahomes right now, and I need to speak to a goddamn manager right now. I need to have a Karen moment right now.
Yes, there.
Lord, what a meltdown. What a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. First up on the gate, we had some pretty big awards to hand out in college football this weekend.
Yeah.
A couple of them that I took right away. The Bolitnikoff Award. Everybody saw that? Who won?
Yeah.
Did you see who won? Let me ask that. Did you see who won the Bolitnikoff?
No.
I did not.
Marvin Harrison Jr. won the Bolitnikoff over Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, there's some upset people about that too.
Look, I can't go crazy on this whole thing. Like, how in the hell could this happen and all that other stuff? But that being said, Marvin Harrison did have 300 fewer yards. They had the same amount of touchdowns. They had the same amount of yards per catch. It wasn't like it almost felt like a career achievement award at this point. They weren't really awarding it to the best wide receiver in the land. Neighbors had a hell of a year. I mean, he just did. Here's his numbers. 86 catches, 15, 46, and 14 tutties in 12 games. Marvin had 67 for 12, 11, and 14. He had fewer catches, but just as many touchdowns. It sort of felt like that's where they went with it. That's just me. You know, I'm not going to get all hypersensitive about it. I know a lot of people. I know one, for instance, LSU Bayou Country was not happy with this outcome. They were screaming highway robbery. They wanted to speak to a manager as well. That's what was happening. Had a lot of Karen moments this weekend. So you guys didn't see it, so that's what happened. The other big one was they handed out the biggest prize in all the land, the Heisman. I mentioned it a couple of months ago. Larry's been on the bandwagon as an LSU fan since early October. I got on about mid to late October. I told you guys the stats a few months ago about what was going on. You guys couldn't believe the numbers he was putting up. Now that it's all said and done, did they get it right? Did they get it wrong? Or are people just getting too hypersensitive? Ricky, what do you think?
You know what? I think I definitely came on board late as well. He was on the radar, but I came on board, I don't know, maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks to go in the season. I was riding high with Penix. He was my guy, but then he kind of flatlined, and Daniels he skyrocketed up, especially the last couple of weeks. His numbers are off the charts. I think they got it 100% right.
Ron, your thoughts on this whole thing?
Oh yeah, I'm the same way with Ricky. I was looking at my Penix was my first thought, but then the more I started watching Daniels play, the more I started liking him, and the more I started liking him, it's like, yeah, this kid, he deserves to win, and the right person won the award. The right person.
So Mel Kiper had a NFL mock draft today that just dropped, brand new, hot off the press. He had 4 quarterbacks going in the first round that I saw. He had Daniels as one of them.
Right.
He had Daniels as a top 10 pick. Yes, he did. I was a little bit surprised with that because he's not the biggest guy. I know he's hyper accurate in college, but I don't know if he's a system quarterback. I don't know how this is going to translate at the next level. I am curious to see as we build up here in the next few months because, believe it or not, we ain't got a whole lot of football left. I'm going to talk about that shortly, but it's time to start getting your draft boards ready. Go ahead.
Hey, Don, no, I just want to add, Daniels reminds me of Anthony Richardson a little bit. He's got the same type of style.
Well, he's not nearly as big, though. He's not
as big, but he has the same type of style, I think. And I just wanted to ask you real quick about the Kiper thing. Where did he have Williams at? Number 1?
No.
Yes.
Oh, really?
No. Wow.
Caleb Williams was number 1 to the Chicago Bears. Nobody wants to hear me. No one wants to believe me.
No,
the Chicago
you've been saying
Bears,
it. Listen, you've been saying it the whole time. I just think it's a mistake, but we'll tackle that. That's for a different day.
Yeah, I see other mock drafts that are way different.
Yeah.
Other than the guru, Mel Kiper.
Look, all I can tell you is that the hairdo the hairdo's been doing this a long time, right? He's got a lot of damn aqua nut up there, holding
Listen,
that shit in place.
He does have a nice head of hair. There's no doubt about it. It's nice. It's shiny and nice. He looks like Andrew Dice Clay back in the day.
Oh, come on, Ricky. Anybody with hair, me and you are jealous of. So,
well, here's the thing. I got a full head of hair. I just keep it short.
I'm calling bullshit on that. I can see Vetus from that shine.
Yo, I give you honest Scout's honor. I got a full head of hair.
Come on by and put some turtle wax on that bad boy. I can see myself better in the podcast.
I'm telling you, no, I got a full head. I got a full head of hair.
Bitch is saluting like this.
Anyway,
so I'm pretty happy about it. I saw it. He had the fourth quarterback going was the kid from Michigan. He still has him as a first round pick.
why?
And I don't see it either, man. I don't get it. I'm not trying to hate on the kid. I just don't see a first round talent in that guy. We're going to see as we get closer to draft. The other big news was my boy from Duke transferred to Notre Dame. Did you see that?
Yes.
Yeah. It kind of surprised me considering his coach went to Texas A&M. And I think he sort of said, you know what, I've had enough. We tried to work it out. It didn't work. I'm going somewhere else. I'm going to be very curious to see what that kid does at Notre Dame next year. I will be watching those games intently. I know you both are not huge Notre Dame fans, but I will be watching this kid next year.
No, I'm definitely not a Notre Dame fan, but I think that's a huge pickup for them. I mean, that kid, he was even in our Heisman conversation. Don, I know you were really high on him all year. I mean, unfortunately, he got hurt, but yeah, I think that's a huge pickup for Notre Dame. He's a really good quarterback.
We're going to see if this kid can throw it as well as I think he can. We all know by now he can run the football and he can make you miss tackles. Yeah. He is a one-man wrecking crew on offense. I can't wait to watch it. Was there any other big college news that you guys saw this week? Because those were the three big things I saw. There's all the college transfers are going crazy right now. Well, the Oklahoma kids in Oregon, just shit's gone off the rails.
The two commits to Colorado, that one number one ranked offensive lineman committing to Colorado, and the number one or top 5 cornerback committing to Colorado too.
I did not see that, but you know, the only problem that you have with those commitments is they're freshmen and true freshmen at offensive line and cornerback. You usually don't see those dividends pay out until their redshirt sophomore year, because it takes them a while to grow into the size that it takes to play in college football. You don't see those kids step into that offensive or defensive line right away. It takes some time to build those young men up.
I think there's another offensive lineman from Oklahoma State that transferred to Colorado too.
Okay. Go ahead, Rick. You got something I can tell.
Well, I'm not worried. Listen, I know there's a lot of talk about it, this transfer portal and the NIL deals. I think this is going to be how it's going to be going forward. It's just going to be, every year is going to be just like, I think it's going to turn college football upside down, really, the transfer portals.
You know what I hope it does? I hope it ends the NCAA. I really do. And I know a lot of people are upset about that, but here's the thing. These kids have been getting ripped off for years while this organization makes billions of dollars and says, well, you've got a little bit of an education going. The big time schools at the big time universities with the big time NFL prospects and the big time college players make hundreds of millions of dollars off of these TV deals. It's time to acknowledge that the kids deserve a little bit of the cut. And everybody crying and complaining, oh, it's ruined college football. They're all leaving. You are worth what someone is willing to pay you. Right. If you were at your job and you decided to quit it and make more money somewhere else, no one, and I mean no one, should have a word to say to you about getting more money and bettering off your family and your future. That's just my opinion. And here's what I keep hearing too, Larry. There is a big topic in Ohio State that Marvin Harrison Jr. might be coming back for some big money deals. Like really? Money that he can't make in the NFL.
25 million, I just saw. What?
There's some rumors going on about that, where they're trying to get this together.
Yeah, and he said he might not come out. He wants to beat Michigan. And what do you think about the Gabriel transfer to Oregon?
You know,
I saw that. That's
I wish him the best of luck. I mean, he didn't have a great season at the end of the year. I didn't really see a whole lot of accuracy out of him throughout the year. We'll see what he can do in Oregon. I'll say that much, because that's an offensive-based team.
I think, I was just going to say, I think Oregon might even fit his skill set better.
Can you run in Oregon? That's the question they're going to ask him. Can you run? Can you bring us what Marcus Mariota was?
I think he can.
I think he can run a little bit too. I'm not sure he's got Marcus Mariota speed, but I think he can boogie a little bit. That was about all I got right now. What else you guys got?
That's about it.
Yeah, I think we should start tackling the big leg here.
Well, Thursday night, I'm going to lead it off. I hope you guys watch this. I have not seen New England look this good to open a game in a long time, like a really long time. Yeah. They jumped all over Pittsburgh in the first half and just bullied them. They bullied them. I don't know how else to say it. It wasn't the prettiest game, but Mitch Trubisky is terrible. Can we just go ahead and acknowledge that? Why is Mitch Trubisky a backup even at this point in the NFL?
That's what I don't understand how he's still in the NFL. I just don't.
No.
It's mind-boggling, is it not? And Najee Harris looked like he was stuck in gear again. Couldn't move anywhere. Go ahead, Ron. I know you got something for this. I know you watched this game.
Yeah, I watched it. If a coach hears a crowd yelling from Mason Rudolph, and Mason Rudolph has good rapport with the other players, why are they not playing him?
I honestly believe they don't have. I don't think they have a choice. I don't think they have a choice. I think that I trust the coaches to a point where you see these guys in practice every day. If you feel like Rudolph is your third string quarterback, and you've seen Rudolph play a couple of games already, it's not like you haven't seen this guy play, right? You've seen him play.
Yeah.
You know what he is. Mitch Trubisky is at least a little bit more mobile. Again, nothing about this game wasn't particularly exciting. The second half, especially, was just a dull moment in life. It was how many times can New England punt the damn ball? It's really what it came down to. Just punt the second half. They got up on them 21-10, and that was all. That's all it took was 21 points. And you knew it watching the game. You said, New England's got 21 points. There's no way Pittsburgh can score 11 points in the second half unless the defense does something dramatic. Am I wrong in that assessment?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at some of them now. Neither one of them ran the ball great. Penalties were – Pittsburgh had one penalty the whole game. So it's not that it's coaching, guys. They just have a severe lack of talent on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know what's going to happen with Pittsburgh. There's a lot of teams sitting right now at 7-6.
Yeah,
they're one up.
Say that. Yeah.
So I'm going to ask. Yeah. I'll ask you then, Ricky, since you saw it. Which 7-6 team right now do you think? Where does Pittsburgh fall in that lineage of 7-6 teams right now?
You know, I was just looking at that. I was actually looking at it earlier, and there's a bunch of teams bunched up. I'm going to answer your question by saying this. I'm rooting for the Texans to come out of that pack because I really like the Houston Texans.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about that shit show.
And, you know, I don't think Pittsburgh has enough offense to hang around. I just don't. And I don't think their defense is great. I mean, they're a 7-6 team, but I just don't like what they have. I don't think they can really get far. I don't know if they're even going to make the playoffs. But we'll see. I mean, the NFC North is bottled up. I think there's 3 teams that are 7-6.
There's 2 teams 7-6, and Cleveland's got 8 wins.
I'm sorry. Yeah, and then
let me say that again. So, Cleveland has 8 wins, and I want to get into that in a little bit. But holy shit, man!
Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah,
there's 5 teams in the AFC West fighting for those final 2 spots that are 7-6.
I think Broncos are better shape than Steelers are.
Oh, I would guarantee that. Yeah, no, they.
Well, it's funny, you know. You sit here and say that. You know what's weird? Kansas City's only up 1 game.
One game.
The win column, 2 in the loss column, actually 1 in the loss column.
1 game. Sorry. They're 1 game up on
them. I didn't look at the schedule, Don. Maybe you know better. Are they playing each other?
No, they're done. They split the series this year. However, Kansas City does have a very winnable stretch of the year. They're at the Patriots. They've got the Chargers, and I want to say they got the Raiders again. So they have a very winnable schedule. I'm going to get into that in a minute. I say it's a winnable schedule right now with that offense. I don't know. I don't really know. I'm going to get into that in a minute. You guys want to move on to the next game, Tampa Bay and Atlanta? Because I watched this. Look, Atlanta's supposed to have a good defense, right? They started off strong this year. They gave it away in the final minutes of this ball game. I don't know how much you guys saw of this. I watched it all. I had a huge interest in this because I was playing Atlanta's defense. I thought at home, they got it all on the line. I forgot, my bad. Atlanta is always going to out-Atlanta themselves. Good God, can you not hold a lead to save your life? Ron, did you see it at all? If not, let me know. I mean, it was killing me.
I was going back and forth because I had on the 4-screen thing. So how I don't understand how they couldn't, like you said, they couldn't hold a lead.
31 seconds left in the game.
A double cover freaking Evans.
I have
every week we say last week we were talking about that. Double cover him. That's where freaking Mayfield's going to go.
I never seen anything like it. I mean,
they couldn't stop the run either. You know,
Baker Mayfield had a total of 144 passing yards.
I was just going to say that.
And like 40 or 50 of them came on this drive at the end of the game. It's insane. Atlanta, what are you doing? Bijan Robinson, 10 carries for 30 yards. I was stunned when I watched this thing go down. I was sitting there thinking at home, I was like, man, I think Atlanta's going to pull it out. Nope. We're Atlanta, bitch.
Yeah. Tampa Bay that was a huge win for them.
It was because it got them back in the playoff push. They needed that win desperately to stay alive. They really did. Because they got 6 wins now, or is it 5? I got to go back and look.
They're 6.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that got them back in the hunt, and it really did because they were really looking down. They took over first place because of that win. Atlanta could have pulled away by 2 games with that one game, and now they're tied with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to love this part of the season, and I was going to talk about this as well. We're down to the final 4 games. It's exciting and it sucks at the same time as a football fan. Exciting and sucks. It's exciting because it's getting crunch time. You got to win to get in. It sucks because there's only 4 games left. Now, some fans can't wait to get put out of their misery. Clearly, Philly Fitter's one of them. He said, to hell with this. I'm out of here. My Philadelphia Eagles are ass. I have nothing left to live for. I'm going to leave my NFL podcasting world behind. So that was, it was what it was. Atlanta's going to Atlanta. I keep forgetting that. So on to the next game, Indianapolis and Cincinnati. This was it's kind of like getting bullied. It felt like Indianapolis, Cincinnati was just going to bully these guys. They ran it all over them. They had some really big screens. The kid Chase Brown, he had a big game, had a real big game. I was impressed with that. I had a lot of interest in this game because I've got Chase as my as one of my wideouts, and he disappeared, like just nowhere to be found. Higgins had a couple of big catches. Have you heard anything on Jake Browning? Because I have not heard a thing on Jake Browning.
No, the only thing that you hear about him was how he kicked ass in college and had all these touchdowns for Washington. That's it. He was a really good college quarterback that wasn't drafted. Yeah. But man, he fell into the right system, or he's coachable, or whatever it is, man. But the kid can play.
He's looked good. He got hurt. I haven't seen what's going to happen now. I haven't heard any injury reports on him. I don't know what's going in. I don't know if he's coming back or not.
I see he got hurt. I haven't seen anything.
That's all they said. I have not heard a huge thing on him. I haven't heard a whole lot of news on him. Nothing is being said. They're being real tight-lipped about this. They don't have to release injury report until tomorrow, correct? Wednesday?
I think Wednesday or Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think they're going to drop the news on this one anytime soon. Gardner Minshew, he wasn't terrible. He wasn't great. Zach Moss is what I thought was going to happen. Once Zach Moss had that little bit of a run, teams are really focusing on him to stop him, because it's clear now that if you stop Zach Moss, you can stop this entire offense. They're missing Taylor. I don't know if he's coming back this year. Larry says he heard that Browning will be back, so we're going to see. We're going to see. I worry about Browning because the guy can clearly throw the ball. He clearly can. I don't know. I'm hoping that he does. Coming back to the stage now, Ricky's back. He's got ghosts of the machine, ladies and gentlemen. He's got massive problems. We got him back. We're moving on from Cincinnati.
Please stay a while.
We like you. Why don't you hang out a minute?
I don't know what happened. I don't know
Life
what happened.
pal.
I
Life
think
happened, pal.
I'm telling you, I think we're hauling it in South Jersey. We're hauling it. It's hauling it here.
On to the one of the more shocking games I saw this weekend. Cleveland and Jacksonville.
Wow.
Yeah. I can't understand this Jacksonville team.
I'm looking for Joe Flacco's ghost because it's reappeared again. How is this guy doing this? Joe Flacco, who can't move, who's as immobile as a tree, is throwing for 300 yards week after week. Ricky, go ahead. You clearly got something to say about this one.
You want to hear something cool?
Go ahead.
He grew up 25 minutes from me in South Jersey.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Did you see him on the streets?
Actually, yes.
All right. So maybe you could explain this. How is Joe Flacco resurging? Because I heard something this week that caught my attention, right? Which, by the way, the Cleveland Browns just lost another offensive lineman. They lost their stud all-pro left tackle from Alabama. So that's going to hurt the team. Here it is, man. They've already lost a lot of offensive linemen. I think they're down to their third-string right tackle at this point in time, and somehow they have duct taped this damn thing back together with their offensive line. They've clearly had a great draft. I'm going to see how this is going to affect them now that they've lost that left tackle. It's going to affect them. It's a matter of how much are they going to miss this guy. Joe Flacco, from what I read this week, this is what they heard. This is what they said. Offensive linemen like guys like Flacco because they stand in the pocket and you know where you have to block because they're not going to move.
Yeah.
And it gives them a target. That kind of took me off a little bit. You hear sometimes guys say, I like when the quarterback can move, help my stats out a little bit. Joe Flacco ain't moving for shit. Joe Flacco is going to stand there and throw the ball. He's still got an arm. I'm shocked right now at what's happening in Cleveland. How are you 8-5, Cleveland? How are you this cursed and this good at the same time? How? Ron, you got anything for this? Because I'm totally speechless on this whole thing.
I don't understand because I think the record should be opposite of that because I just have personal feelings towards the owner and Watson, but Flacco, Flacco's Flacco, man. He's steady Eddie. You know, he's always been the guy that doesn't let the game get too big for him and just calm, cool, and collective. And, you know, he's a veteran. That's why. And then, yeah, players gravitate towards him because he isn't bigger than the game. So they respect him more. They're going to play a little bit harder for him.
I'm glad you think so. I think he's just one lucky son of a bitch right now, to be honest with you. I think he just lucked into the damn draw of all draws. Cleveland's got something going here, and they're desperate to make the playoffs for a fan base that hasn't seen it in forever. Here's my question for both of you. Does Cleveland start to fall back now that they've just lost their best offensive line? Do they finally start to regress coming this weekend? Ricky, what do you say?
Well, it depends. I mean, it depends on.
Don't you give me that. Don't you give me that. They just lost their best left tackle. And I'll tell you, they've got Chicago, Houston, Jets, and Cincinnati to close the season out.
You asked me, and I'm going to tell you.
All right. You ain't got to get hot about it. Shit.
Of course. Of course it's going to affect them. It would probably affect anybody. But I also will say on the flip side of that is, they have good coaching, and they'll put them in a position where it doesn't affect them as much, where they might not run that side. They might double team or use different type of play so that offensive lineman, that the new offensive lineman that they bring in is not as exposed. So yes, it's going to affect them, but I don't think as much as you might think.
All right, give me your predictions here. Do they win against Chicago at home?
Yes.
Okay. Win against Houston on the road.
It depends on if CJ.
Win against Houston on the road.
No.
Win against Houston on the road. Okay.
No.
Win at home against the Jets.
Nope.
No.
Win at Cincinnati. Last game of the season.
Yes.
Okay, so you got them 1-2. Ron, I'm with you. I think they're going to finish 1-3 down the stretch and miss the playoffs. I think it's finally going to catch up to them.
Yeah,
they can beat Chicago because Chicago's defense is just atrocious, and Cleveland has got a good defense. They're going to get after Justin Fields and make his day a living hell. Garrett Bowles is clearly Defensive Player of the Year, in my opinion. I think you can stop all the chitter chatter now. That guy's taking over games and wreck teams. Houston will have Stroud, I'm convinced, back by then. I don't know if he's going to play this weekend. We're going to get to that in a minute. I don't think you're beating the Jets. The Jets right now, the Jets defense is equally impressive. They had a couple of bad games to start the season where they gave up a lot of rushing yards. That's not the same defense that gave up those rushing yards early in the season. It's hard to run against them right now. So we're going to see. I'm looking forward to it. Speaking of the Jets, raise your hand if you had the Jets winning this weekend on your bingo card against Houston, the Red Hot Texans. Nobody? Nobody's taking this one? Zach Wilson threw for 300 yards. Zach Wilson. Not Russell Wilson, Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, the MILF guy. That guy threw for 300 yards. Captain MILF, where's your mom? Came out there and dropped 300. I'm going to give you guys my take and see how far off I am. The Texans had a big home win last week against Denver. Like the hottest team in the NFL came into their house, and they won it in the final seconds to close it out. A young team, right? A young team. This was a big win for them. I think they went on the road against the Jets and were completely overlooking them, didn't think they were going to give them a game, and got shocked that they forgot every game in the NFL is hard. Every week in the NFL takes everything you've got. I think they walked in there thinking they were going to get it, and when they got behind early, it sort of scared them because there was no score in this game, if you remember. None in the first half. And then the third quarter, they got behind. Like early in the third quarter is what I meant to say, sorry. They got behind them, and that was it. Like they couldn't catch up. And Stroud got knocked on his noodle. And I don't know that he's going to play this weekend. Like I think he might be out. That concussion, look, I mean, when he hit the ground, that kid looked like he was out of his socks, man. Like, where are you, son? March. Nope, get him off the field. He didn't know where he was. So
he hit pretty good last week too in the Denver game, remember?
Yeah, he got a couple of hard licks in on that one. Yes, he did. Ricky, what did you think of this game? Were you as shocked as I was?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I thought the Jets punched them in the mouth. And, I mean, the Texans' offensive numbers were just, horrible. They had 54 net yards passing. I mean, even though Stroud ended up going out, but still, they only had 54 yards passing. Listen, like you said, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think Houston had a big win the week prior. They were kind of smelling themselves a little bit, and they overlooked a team who just punched them right in the mouth.
Like Stikelether said, first they lose Dell for the season. Now they lost their concussion. Yeah. Not easy going right now if you're a Texas fan. Not to mention Nico Collins without this game. He's a little bit dinged up. I
think the loss of Dell and Collins.
That was huge.
Hurt him.
I mean, you've only got so many guys on your bench you could go to catch the football. There's a reason that you've got third, fourth string guys, and when you get down to those NFL, you typically don't win football games. I like CJ Stroud. I just don't know that they got enough horses around him right now to keep this thing going.
I agree with that.
I don't think you risk a kid with scrambled brains right now coming into this weekend.
No way.
Might have to sit him down.
There's no way.
What happened with Wilson? They just let him go and he could be free and do what he wanted to? Or that's not the Zach Wilson we've seen play. That's the Zach Wilson a lot of people hoping would play.
Yeah, I mean, I heard they went to MILF.com and got him a special order. So, I mean, get your shopping cart full up again there, Jets fans. My man was on it. Houston goes to Tennessee, home against Cleveland, home against Tennessee, and on the road against Indianapolis. So they've got a lot of divisional matchups left. They've got to get 2 wins, I think, out of that to have a shot of winning that division. Otherwise, I just don't see it myself. They've got it in them. The question is, can they get those young kids focused enough on that game? Braun,
what?
Your Rams, man. Your Rams. Give me something, because I'm not a Rams fan, and that was painful to watch it end on a punt return in overtime. After you held Lamar Jackson to a 3-and-out, he was carving up that secondary, carving huge notches out of their ass. I mean, just killing them. And then, and by the way, he led the team in rushing again, which, if you're not watching the Baltimore Ravens on a regular basis, You don't understand how much this kid has on his back. I know you haven't seen a lot of his games, I don't think, Ron, because you're on the East Coast. This was a game you saw in full. Give me your assessment, not just of your Rams, but tell me first about what you saw in Lamar Jackson and why he is such a problem.
He's a joystick. You can't tackle the guy. He's like a magician back there. It cracks me up, man. The Rams a few times were like right there. Then whoop, there he is. He's gone. He moves and goes and runs. The Rams see on the punt return. I'm not making this as an excuse, but there's 3 penalties for blocking the back that they didn't call. But
I saw one that I thought that was going to get called, and when they didn't, I said, "Well, then that's it." They're just
not why they lost. They lost because opening drive. I'll start with opening drive. Run it down the field. Bam, 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 bam. 9 plays in a row. Just dominating and being physical. And then McVay gets cute and starts throwing the ball. So a field goal. The next drive, or the drive after that, same thing. They get down in the red zone. Instead of running the ball, they had set up for a field goal. You can't win games playing against a team like the Ravens with freaking field goals. Rams play, hey, they put up, 28 points against one of the best defenses in the league, but they're still young and dumb and gonna make mistakes. And missed tackles, the two blown freaking coverages. My God, what the hell were they thinking? And it was the same person too.
So I want to talk about this now because I put a poll up today that asked everybody who their NFL MVP was as of today, right? I had Hill for Miami, Lamar Jackson for Baltimore, and I had Dak Prescott. We're going to get to that in a minute. Why? I did not have San Francisco CMC. I didn't have Christian McCaffrey, and I didn't have their quarterback. And here's why. Which one of those guys gets your MVP vote right now for San Francisco?
I'm not giving it to either.
Yeah. No, I'm saying for the team, for the San Francisco 49ers MVP.
Honestly, if it was me, I would have to go Purdy.
Okay, you're going Purdy. What are you going, Ron?
Between those two?
On their own team, which one is the San Francisco 49ers MVP? Purdy or CMC?
I don't think either one of them are. I think
no. Of the San Francisco's team MVP. You don't think it's either one of them. Who do you think it is?
Deebo Samuel.
See, I rest my case. Here's the issue with the 49ers. They are blessed with so many riches that you can't even tell me who their team MVP is right now, let alone they're going to get nominated for the NFL MVP. Now, there's 4 weeks left, right? In my opinion, Purdy and McCaffrey are canceling each other out on the MVP ballots. Because if you're going to vote, you're going to go one or the other. You're going to split your ticket and maybe go half and half. That's how I see this going. But they're going to take votes from the other one, right? Lamar Jackson got the lowest number of votes. Yeah, I mean, it just is. I mean, any time that I've seen the NFL where you've got 2 offensive guys that are up for MVP, neither one of them ever wins it. It always goes to the other guy that's third place. And I felt like these were the 3 guys in third place. You saw the game. The numbers aren't all that they're just cracked up to be with Lamar Jackson. He took 2 sacks for only 6 yards in this game. So even when you get him, you're not getting him for big yards because he's so elusive. He has, and you saw this now with your own eyes. Odell Beckham's gotten pretty old pretty fast, correct? From what you saw in the game. He wasn't running wide open. There were busted coverages when he got open, correct?
Right. Yeah, he's not. Yeah, he's definitely lost a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. The second player on the team with the catches was Isaiah Likely, okay? Zay Flowers had 6 for 60. One of them, I mean, he didn't have anything longer than 21 yards. If you're not watching what Lamar's doing on a week-to-week basis, you don't understand how much he's carrying this offensive load on his back. He is literally carrying it like a Santa Claus sack. The entire offense is on his back. He's got to march these bums down the field with the shittiest offensive play mind I've ever seen in my life. Year after year, Lamar Jackson, this offensive coordinator, they change the OC, it's the same crap. Lamar Jackson is why the Ravens are, number one, the best record in the AFC. The best record in the AFC and the best record in the best conference in the AFC. That's my opinion. That's why he was on my list. Go ahead.
I can't argue with that about Lamar. I've watched a lot of his games this year, and one thing I noticed this year, as in years past, he hasn't ran the ball as much because they were giving it to the other guys, Gus and
Mitchell.
thank you.
Mitchell.
Yeah.
One thing I'll say about Jackson is this year he's seeing his receivers, his first, his second, his third. He's hitting the hot routes. He's making quicker decisions. So he's definitely improved his passing. I mean, there are throws that every quarterback wants to take back. I think he's in the MVP talk. However, I think Hill is the show horse in that.
And I want to get to that in a minute. I do want to get to that. So I saw Lamar play. I saw your Rams go down. It was a tough game. It was an entertaining damn game. That's when you hate to lose. I always feel like if I'm going to lose, just let my team get blown out. Don't let me lose in overtime with some crazy shit because that's just heartbreaking. Lamar Jackson continues to shock me in how much of a playmaker he is. On to Detroit and Chicago. If you didn't watch this game, and I did because I had Justin Fields in, this was a tale of two halves. It absolutely was. Chicago went straight down the field with their opening drive and looked strong. Looked so strong. And then completely folded it in for the next, 25 minutes of football. And Detroit started coming on. Chicago couldn't get fourth down conversions. Detroit kept coming on. And then Jared Goff did some Jared Goff shit and got the Bears back in the game. I am not sold on Detroit. I know they're 9-4, but you can rattle Goff's cage, I think, a little bit too easy for a playoff team. I've got major concerns. Ricky, you've mentioned it all year about Jared Goff. I got concerns about it. You tell me why you got concerns.
I like the Lions story. I think they're, I like to coach. They're kind of fiery. They're an upstart team. But I've said this for years, and I'll stay on this hill until he proves me otherwise. I think that Jared Goff is a bottom tier NFL quarterback, and I think he's soft as a tissue, and I don't think I don't think he's able to carry a team to the places that they need to go, and when you have to be greasy and dirty and grindy and do those playoff things that these other quarterbacks have to do. I just don't think he's that quarterback. Now, I'm going to sit here and be honest. Maybe he could prove me wrong, and I hope that he can. But I watched him in his career with the Rams and with the Lions, and I just don't see it in him. Time will only tell.
No, I agree with everything you just said, Ricky, about him. And that's why the Rams had to make the change.
Yeah. Yep.
They need a quarterback with a little bit of dog in them,
Yeah. Yep.
There's no
I agree.
dog in golf.
I agree.
He gets scared, then he starts running around like a baby giraffe and then makes mistakes.
I don't really have much. Go ahead.
No,
sorry.
I'm just going to add this, and I'm not going to spend, like you said, too much time talking about Goff. But what we all have with certain things, whether we're watching college or we're watching the NFL, we always go with the eye test, right? The eye test tells us a lot. And we see certain players, like we just see certain guys, it just go with the eye test. And my eye test with Goff tells me that, he's just a soft player. I don't want to call him soft. That's probably harsh and the wrong way to say it. But I don't see that dog in him, right?
I don't know how to explain it. When I see him play, it looks very mechanical to me, almost not like a natural leader at quarterback. I don't know if that's the best way to say it.
I think that's accurate.
So this game was a tale of two teams. I mean, Goff started throwing picks and just got him right back in it. The Bears' offense impressed me very little. It just didn't.
He's got 4 games left in Detroit. Then next year will be Hendon Hooker playing.
I would agree with that. On to the Saints, who got a big win at home, got themselves back in the playoff contention again, 28-6 over Carolina. I don't know if Bryce Young is a good quarterback. There's no weapons on that team.
Yeah.
What I do know is that was a bad showing. He didn't have a completion, or he didn't have his second completion in that game until way late in the first half. I don't know what's going on. I hope the kid pulls the nose up on this thing. Derek Carr is a shell of himself. He doesn't look good. He can't seem to hit anybody. It's awful right now. New Orleans won, and they won big, but that was terrible watching this football game. If you weren't a fan of one of these two teams, you could have taken a good 3-hour nap. Did you guys even pay attention to this game?
I watched a little bit of it. I wasn't impressed with Carr.
No is the acceptable answer.
Yeah. It hurts for me to say that because I've been a fan of Carr, but I gotta admit, man,
something's wrong. Something's either the OC or Carr's wrong.
Something because he's not himself. He's not making the throws he's making before at all.
Larry, a big fan of his Saints, says straight to the trash can, the whole thing. And I agree, that offense is trash. Speaking of trash-ass offenses, the Vikings and the damn Raiders had a game in 1962 where no one scored a single point until the fourth quarter. Oh, Ron, tell me about this snooze fest. What the shit was that?
What a pathetic showing of football from both damn teams. Both teams come off a damn bye, off a bye week. You make adjustments. And off a bye week, you can only score 3 points between two teams.
They did make adjustments. I was paying attention. They made adjustments. They said, we're going back to 1962, and this is how we're going to play. Neither team could run the ball. Neither team could throw the ball consistently. Josh Dobbs tried to get Jefferson murdered across the middle.
Yes, he did.
I mean, I saw that hit, and I was like, dude, if I'm not trying to be a jerk, but as soon as he throws that pass and I just got Jefferson back if I'm the head coach, I am immediately pulling that kid and putting it in Mullins. Immediately. Because you're not seeing this field if you're trying to get my star player murdered on a jump murder ball across the middle of the field. I hated everything that they did in this game. I hated the offense. Nothing that the Raiders did worked. They looked broken. It was the worst piece of shit I've ever seen.
How do you do that? I mean, come out from bye week. Okay. This is my honest opinion about the Raiders. And I like Antonio Pierce, but I think their whole giving the power, the players empowerment, even like the OC, he gets plays from the players. Oh, I want to play this play. I want to do this play. It's backfiring on you guys. The answer's
The answer's no.
Yeah, so that needs. I mean, if Pierce stays as head coach, fine, but he needs to find a legitimate NFL offensive coordinator that has experience. Otherwise, no. You can't. God.
I'm gonna lay this on you. The goddamn Raiders punted 8 times. The Vikings punted 9 times. The Raiders punted for 433 yards. Are you shitting me in St. Louis? 433 punting yards in a football game by one team, not the game total, one team. Yeah. This was terrible. Don't ever do whatever this was. Throw that game plan in the trash and do something else because I cannot stand to watch that shit again.
And I kept on watching. Thinking, it's going to get better.
Masochist?
It's going to get better. It's going to get better. It never got fucking better. My God.
Listen, guys, I'm fucking glad I didn't watch the game. I'd rather watch the Republican debate on CNN, which, believe me, I'm not going to fucking watch that than have watched this game.
Yeah.
The worst piece of shit ever. On to Ron's favorite team, Seattle. And they got murder balled. They got absolutely murder balled. No one in Seattle can cover. I'm convinced of this after this game. Brock Purdy wasn't throwing like zippity doodah passes. It was, oh, shit, run under it. Oh, shit, run under that. His receivers are running wide open across the middle of the field, singing yippity doodah all the way to the end zone. It was the most absurd thing I've ever seen. Seattle, you are a pretender. Go away with your 6-7 ass. You have no business coming to the playoffs. I have no faith in you. Drew Lock was Drew Lock, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Brock Purdy threw for 368 yards. Oh, and by the way, San Francisco had 2 receivers with over 100 yards, over 120 yards. They were playing college football. They really were just terrible.
Listen, I've been saying this all year, and I'm going to stick to it. San Fran's a good team. I mean, they're good in all phases of the game. They have a solid quarterback. The CM3 ran for over 100 yards. Like you said, they had 2 receivers over 100 yards. They have an offensive line that can block. They can play defense. They have linebackers. This is a solid team. They are very good. Very good.
No shit.
Yeah.
They're real good.
Yeah.
And that's why you've got a problem at the MVP voting with this team, because you just saw a game where you could have named 3 MVPs from this one game alone. You really could have. I mean, the number Christian McCaffrey is getting close to having another 2,000-yard scrimmage season, right?
Yeah.
He had 145. Seattle cannot stop the run. They haven't stopped it all year, and they ran all over their ass. Just did not. He only carried it 16 times, $145. 16 for $145. Oh, and no touchdowns.
I'm going to say this now, and I'm going to be bold, and it's okay. I would be surprised if San Fran wins the Super Bowl this year.
I believe somebody on our first podcast had them going to the Super Bowl. Who? Oh, it was me. It was me.
It wasn't me.
You sure it wasn't 2 people?
It might have been you. I don't remember if you did. Did you have them too?
Mm-hmm.
I had Detroit.
I'll tell you what. I'll go back to my notes.
Oh, I know. I remember the note you took, because the other one I had was the Jets, and that shit went to hell.
Yeah. Well,
3rd play of the game. Oh, there goes Aaron Rodgers' Achilles.
Hey, if Zach Wilson keeps playing how he might be able to get them into the back door, into the playoffs.
Don't mention backdoor with the MILF maker.
Zach Wilson.
That's just
it was a pun. It was a pun there.
Jesus.
I think I'll make a bold statement here too. Seattle Seahawks lose out the rest of the season, and Pete Carroll gets fired.
Not a chance in hell. No way.
Yep.
Wait, Ron, you're saying that they lose out and Carroll gets fired. Don, you're saying no to both?
No way.
Or no to Carroll getting fired?
Both. There's no way they're losing the rest of the year, and he's never getting fired. That guy's got a job for life.
No,
Wait, all right. So let's just stay on this real quick. It's a big game Monday night, obviously.
Against Philadelphia. Yep.
Right. Ron?
Then they go to Tennessee.
Yeah.
They're home against Pittsburgh, and they're on the road against Arizona. They've got 2 very winnable games.
They play Niners, don't they?
No, that's it. This was their last game against.
They're losing.
All they've got is
they're losing out. Wow.
I'm gonna get your. Do they have a drug test at this new job? You're gonna fail that bitch. On to the Battle of Karen. I've been waiting on this one all week.
Yeah.
Mahomes' frustration with the lack of offensive playmakers is becoming very evident right now. They just have not drafted particularly well over the past several years at offense. They just haven't. That's the truth. I know everybody's like, well, Rice had 7 for 72. He was scrambling to get him those 7 for 72. It was playmaker time. He was having to scramble and find him down the field because he's not coming off of his routes crisp, and he's not wide open right away. They've got a serious issue. And by the way, after those 2 guys, the next leading receiver besides Kelsey and Rice, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who had amazing 39 rushing yards on 11 attempts. They could not run the ball against Buffalo. Denver ran quite well against Buffalo. They played them well defensively. The Chiefs have a good defense. I'm going to talk about the offsides call. He was offsides. Get over it. He was offsides. Yeah. He wasn't just offsides. He was damn near on defense. My wife is, we've all got our struggles in life. My wife is a Chiefs fan. She even said he's playing defense at this point in time. What are they complaining about? And then if you saw the aftermath when Mahomes had his Karen moment with Josh Allen, just erupted on the poor guy like it was his fault. Like, dude, you didn't play enough for 4 quarters to win that football game. You just didn't. And they've got to take a hard look in the mirror and decide what they're going to do in the offseason on offense. Because at the way they're going to win the division, I think. I really feel strong in that. If you look at their remaining opponents, They're at New England. They're home against the Raiders. They're home against Cincinnati, and they're on the road against the Chargers. So they've got 3 very winnable games in those final 4. So that's my 2 cents on this game. This had a lot of hyperbole coming out of this with what happened. Ricky, what did you think?
Well, listen, I think Patty Mahomes is obviously probably a Hall of Fame quarterback. Kelsey, Hall of Fame tight end. Andy Reid, great coach. But this is very reminiscent of the early Eagles teams back in the 2000s when Andy
started going off the rails, you mean?
Well,
Yeah.
when Andy was drafted and he wasn't putting enough around Donovan McNabb, this sort of reminds me of that. But the part is that now is that Mahomes is able to overcome that because he's so good, especially in these last couple years. But we're seeing that now because I think Mahomes, I don't want to say he's losing a step, but he's not the same quarterback, right? And I think when you don't have that talent around you, now it outshines. You know what I mean? And I think that's what's going on there. They just look, unless it's Mahomes taking off or throwing to Kelsey, or they can't move the friggin' chains. They can't move those. They can't move the ball down.
They can't do it
field.
consistently. They just can't do it consistently.
Right.
Ron, you got anything to add?
No, well, just the whole offside thing is they've called it 12 times this year. All year long, they call it 12 times. For them to say that call is generally not called, and for Andy Reid saying, well, usually I get a
warning by the ref.
A warning that, hey, no, this Tony's getting paid money, millions and millions of dollars. All you do is look down and look across. And before that, ask the referee, go like this, am I good? And the referee will tell the receivers, no, yes or no. So
I'm going to say this. I'll say this. It's late in the game. You're not getting that nod. You need to know it with 2 minutes left in the game if you're on sides or not. Don't look to the ref to help you out.
No.
First quarter, second quarter, okay, a couple times I can see. Fourth quarter with the game on the line, that's not the moment you ask, do I know what I'm doing in my goddamn job? I don't. Shit, let me back up. That's not the time to figure out if you know how to line up on a football field that you've been doing since you were 4 years old. Get over yourself. You lost the game for your team.
Don, I thought you were just yelling at your wife. I'm like, settle down, Beavis.
No, I think she just laughed at that.
Holy shit.
And then how much of this is this Nagy?
Yeah.
Is there a hangover effect from this?
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think because of their coaching, especially Andy Reid being such a great coach. I mean, Patrick Mahomes being the person he is. Yes, absolutely, Chris. Yes, absolutely. 100%.
He does miss Tyreek Hill because that was his bombs away guy.
It was. And now they don't have that.
They don't.
So,
Well, they got another game next week. We all do. I'm moving on to the next game.
Yeah.
Denver and the Chargers. I don't want to get into a whole lot of this. I feel bad for Justin Herbert. He took an ass kicking in this game. If you were watching it, a lot of people weren't because it is the Broncos. They sacked him 4 times in the first half and jacked his finger up. And they announced today he's out for the rest of the year. He's going to have surgery.
He's done. And I don't blame the Chargers for doing that. The Chargers aren't going to make the playoffs.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, just let the kid heal. You know what I mean?
I mean, he's taken a beating this season. That offense is just not working. It's terrible to watch. I've seen it now for the first time for a full game. Denver was just absolutely crushing this kid. He had no hope. The score was 24-7, all right, and it wasn't even that close. It wasn't even that close. Denver returned a fumble 6 that the backup fumbled that they called back and said, never mind, it's not a touchdown. So it could have been a whole lot worse. Denver was all over them. They had 6 sacks as a team. It wasn't a close game. Russell Wilson was frustrating again at times. He did throw a deep ball that made me happy. Their offense sometimes can be a little bit predictable for me, and it drives me insane as a fan. Their defense is playing better. I don't want to dwell on this because it was a beatdown. You guys got anything else?
Nah.
And yes, fire Stanley. Staley's got to go. I don't know what the hell they're going for.
Listen, I'm just going to add this real quick. For some reason, Don, it's probably because of you. I'm starting to like the Broncos a little bit. I want to see them have some success. And I don't hate them. I'm tired of the Chargers. It's the same thing every year.
It's the same thing every decade.
And I don't even care about the Chargers, but it's the same thing all the time.
Every decade. Every decade, they get a Hall of Fame almost guy at quarterback.
Right.
They get a Hall of Fame worthy running back. They get a Hall of Fame wide receiver, tight end, and just piss away the talent.
You know what?
And they get a Hall of Fame, and a Hall of Fame pass rusher that they just piss away the talent until they break down.
They remind me of the Angels in baseball. It's the same thing. It's the same team.
Hey.
Oh shit. So I meant the Yankees. I'm sorry.
No, you definitely meant the Angels. Hey, I tell you what, I'll give you a pack of bubble gum for Mike Trout because you're not going to use them anyway.
Hey, this is the football podcast, brother.
Hey, again.
All right.
Wait. Listen.
No. Keep the Angels out of your mouth, please.
No, I love Mike Trout. I love Trout. I love him. He's a half hour from here too. I love Mike Trout.
He's coming home. He's going to Philly.
He's going to Atlanta.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
No, he's not, because Art Moreno's holding him hostage. Because Art Moreno. Okay, let's.
We're moving on.
No, hold on. Go ahead, Ron. Go ahead. Come on.
Art Moreno is the worst freaking owner in the damn in baseball.
I will agree. I'd agree, 100%. On to the Eagles.
He teased Angels when he decided to go Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. What kind of crap is that?
It's horseshit. It's Anaheim Angels. I agree. It's the AA. Speaking of AA, Ricky, you might have to join your local AA. Because I'd have been drinking hard if I'd have been watching this game. What the hell has happened to your beloved Philadelphia Eagles, man? The defense is trash right now. They can't stop a wet dream. They're just, I don't know what's happened to them, man.
All right, so I knew this was going to come up, and I'm going to be honest.
You know they got a tight end, right? Like you can cover the tight end.
Listen, I don't, and I listen. Yeah, listen, I listen to the local sports talk and all that. People talking. Look, I rarely do this, but I'm going to say this. I hate the Dallas Cowboys, but
no kidding.
With that being said, I got respect for them. They came out Sunday night and they beat the shit out of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it. And listen, I'm a diehard, right? I'm a diehard, and I hate the Cowboys more than anything. But I am very impressed right now with what Dallas is doing as a football team. I'm very impressed with their quarterback. I'm very sorry. No. Listen, I'm honestly, I could sit here and say how bad the Eagles are playing right now and the play calling and all that other nonsense, which is all facts. But
it's all valid.
But I want to make sure that I give props and respect to the Dallas Cowboys. God, I swear to God, I'll never say that again. I really want to give props to them because they are playing a good brand of football right now. And you know what? They're putting themselves in a really good spot in the conference. Their quarterback is hitting the guys. Their friggin' defense is playing good. The coach, who I've never liked, is calling good offensive plays. They're just, I mean.
You want to know what caught my attention in this game was the time of possession. They held the ball for almost 37 minutes.
Well, that's a huge thing, and that's what the Eagles used to do. That's their game. That's their bread and butter, and then they get running, whatever. But yeah, Dallas Cowboys came in and just punched them.
And we talked about this earlier this season. DeAndre Swift, right? We talked about this earlier this season. This has been the knock on this guy, is he comes out of the gate the first 5 to 6 weeks like barnstormers, and then slowly he starts to just kind of disappear, and he's suddenly not hitting the hole as hard, and the burst is suddenly gone because he's a little bit nicked up. And the wear and tear on that guy, man, I almost feel like you sit him down for 3 games and rest him. I really do.
Listen, it's funny. It's a tale of two guys. It's a tale of two players, really. He rushes for 200 yards, 170 yards. And then, but in this game, and I'm not taking nothing, off of him, they just didn't have the consistency and play calling They just weren't running the ball right. They couldn't get going. And
They couldn't. You're right. They couldn't
just
get it
could not-
consistently going.
they just sputtered and sputtered and sputtered. They just couldn't get going. And there's a lot of talk around here about Jalen maybe being more hurt than
That's
we're
what I
seeing on
heard. I was
TV.
going to ask you about
Yeah.
that. They
Yeah.
keep saying because I'm watching the game and he wasn't really
Yeah.
planting off that back leg to fire down the field.
Well, local radio, who's in the know here with the Eagles, and I'm not saying yes or no. I'm just telling you what I've been hearing is that he's hurt more than he's leading on his knee, and that might be an issue.
So we might need to have a scope here, is what you're saying.
Well, yes, that's the local rumor that there's more in that knee that's being shown, and he's having a hard time pushing off on it. When he falls, he's having a hard time getting back up. He's not the same quarterback right now.
Right.
It's hard to argue that.
I keep hearing the same thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ron.
Go ahead, Ron.
That they've been saying that for the last couple of weeks about him. So why?
Well,
why
that-
aren't they-
If you saw that game, it was really evident. Go ahead. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
lot very evident last.
Yeah.
last-
Yeah. Hey, wait. Hey, Ron, I'm looking in the background. Is that it? That was what? You mother effer. I'm looking. I'm like, wait a minute.
Been up there
All
for
right.
an hour and you just noticed?
I just noticed it because I'm thinking. I just noticed it. All right. That's all right. Okay.
If you remember, Ron's wife was a huge Cowboys fan.
Yeah. I just noticed the thing because you know what? I got my phone and like my screen's kind of down. I don't know if you could see what I'm seeing on my thing, but I only saw half of it. But now that I opened up my phone, I saw the whole store. I'm like, no.
There it is. Little shot. Love it.
All right.
Then we had
I like
two Monday night football games last night, which
Oh.
I freaking hate. I hate it with a passion when they do this. Because I'm over here flipping channels like a wild man, trying to watch them both. On one game, I've got the Cheeseheads playing the Tony Sopranos, and on the other game, I got Tennessee Titans and Miami having the weirdest football game I've seen in a while.
God, huh?
What a weird game that was. First, let's just get into it with Green Bay. Every time you think they're about to make a playoff run, they have one of these games. They're just inconsistent as hell. We know what New York is right now. They're not a playoff team. They're not going to get on some magic run. They beat Green Bay at home with some crazy shit where they had a quarterback running on some sneaks, some naked bootlegs they weren't expecting. The Giants go to New Orleans, to Philly, home for the Rams, and then host the Philadelphia Eagles. So if they get one win out of that, that's about all I see. I mean, I just don't see it.
No,
However,
I don't either.
Green Bay's got problems because they really had a chance to make the playoffs. They're hosting Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay never does well in cold weather. I expect them to win. They're going to Carolina. They should win that game. They go to Minnesota. They're not winning that, and then Chicago comes to their house. They have a chance to get 3 wins.
Hey, wait. Let me ask you something. No, why are they not necessarily winning that game in Minnesota?
They're not beating Minnesota.
Okay.
They're not. I'm going to tell you why. Because Minnesota's going to win that division.
Wow.
Minnesota's going to come on now with Mullins, and the quarterback, and they're going to get hot. Because Jefferson's going to play this weekend, and you're about to see the deep ball come back in there, and that's going to open the running game back up because quietly no one's paying attention. Minnesota's got a good defense, and no one's talking about it, but they do.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Giants beat Green Bay. I wasn't nothing about this game said, watch me. You should really watch me. It was just I don't know, man. You're looking at two teams and you're pretty sure you know what they are, and that's what they turned out to be in the game. Am I wrong? You guys got something to add to this shit show?
I mean, I didn't watch the game. Oh, go ahead, Ron.
I was watching because I love as a quarterback, and I was fast football cases for that, and of course he turns into just a shell of a person. Couldn't make throws, and I don't know because they kept saying about the wind there. I don't know if that was the case or what. I don't buy that.
No, Giant Stadium this time of year is brutal.
Throw the ball downfield, deke and dunk all the way downfield like they did. That's how they scored the touchdown. Now, hey, so do they need to take that turf out at MetLife?
Yeah, that shit's terrible. It's
He
terrible.
just jumps out and trips people, man.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's the worst field in the NFL. The players
Yeah.
have been bitching about it since they put it
Yeah.
in.
Oh,
They
yeah.
need to get off their ass and do something about that
I
field
mean,
before
that's
somebody
right.
else loses their season.
Barkley
Yep.
got tackled by the turf monster and bumped the ball.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah, I'm good with that game.
all right. Moving on to Miami, because this was just a debacle of epic proportions across all stages of football. This is why I've got Tyreek Hill in my MVP watch. As soon as he went out of the game, it was a different football game.
Yeah.
They suddenly couldn't move the ball. They couldn't get a consistent drive going. He came back, early in the fourth or late in the fourth? I can't remember, but he came back in the fourth quarter and got them in the red zone and kick-started the offense again. Do you know what I'm talking about, where he slid out of bounds catching the ball?
Yeah.
Because it was like, I can't get hit. Something's wrong. I feel a little bit banged up. I'm going to protect myself. He is what makes this entire offense run, in my opinion. He really is. He is the key to everything.
There's no doubt. 100%. 100%.
Because he opens up the field to everybody.
Yep.
He's at 1,500 yards with 4 games left. Right now, we got a 17-game season. So if he gets to 2,000, it won't be the same. I get that. But if he gets to 2,000 by week 17,
yeah,
I think the MVP is his. He can sit out week 18 if they clinch, because 2,000 yards is insane.
Well, I guess so, because didn't Chris Johnson win an MVP when he 2,000 yards rushing, or would
I don't think he did. I can't remember.
See, that's the thing, because they're so.
It's hard to get if you're not a quarterback.
If I'm not, I'm probably wrong here, and I'm just spitfiring. Didn't the year he rushed for 2,000 yards? I think Randy Moss won the MVP.
I don't think so.
I think. I may be totally wrong.
Well, I'm going to go down the list right here, and I'm going to start telling you right now. So I'm going to go down by year, starting in, say, 2008. Manning, Brady, Rodgers, Peterson, Manning, Rodgers, Newton, Ryan, Brady, Mahomes, Jackson, Rodgers, Mahomes.
Okay.
The last non-quarterback to win it was Adrian Peterson in 2012. That's how long it's been.
All right. Okay.
So it really has become the quarterback award. I would like to see somebody else win it. I think there's a couple of deserving guys this year. CMC is one, and if he continues to carry that load and gets 2,000 scrimmage yards, you got to start looking at him a whole lot more seriously.
All right. Well, let me ask you guys this then. All right. Just quarterbacks. Right now, who's the MVP?
Prescott.
Dak Prescott.
Because you take him out of the game, and then what happens?
Look,
team.
I think it's a 2-horse race between him and Purdy.
Yeah.
I think it's a 2-horse race right now between him and Purdy.
The last rusher to go for 2,000 yards and win the MVP, I believe, was Terrell Davis.
I think you are correct. 1999, right? 1998.
Yeah. Now, Ladainian Tomlinson had 2,000 scrimmage yards. Matter of fact, Adrian Peterson, that year is the year he went over 2,000. That was the year Adrian Peterson went over 2K. That year. That's right. He was the last one to win it. So, yeah, God, Adrian Peterson. You miss those guys, don't you? Anyway,
listen. I'll tell you what. I miss Tomlinson. I miss Marshall Faulk. Those type of guys. I'll tell you who I miss, and he's kind of a name that I miss Curtis Martin. I used to love that guy.
He was fun to watch. Yes,
I used to love that guy. Yeah.
They don't. A lot of these players aren't like that anymore. It's hard. The running backs are very much, plug and play type players anymore. It's rare you get a special breed anymore, and that's a damn shame. So we all agree. I mean, Miami lost that game. I don't want to shit on Will Levis. He played a great game. He threw one absolute goat rope of a pass to Hopkins in between 3 players. Just fired that thing in there.
Oh, speaking of Hopkins, I'll tell you what, that guy's still getting at it. He's still an asset.
He's played well this year. He's played well. He's played well since Will Levis came in the game. I'll say
100 something yards again, another touchdown. I think it's a couple weeks in a row now. Touchdown. He still has it. Is Hopkins a Hall of Fame player, guys?
Yeah,
he's on the border. He's getting close. He's getting close.
He might have to be first ballot, but he'll be Hall of Fame.
I don't know if he's in yet. He's getting close though.
Okay.
Look up his numbers. I mean, you tell me. I don't know that he's there yet. I just
Torrey
don't.
hold on.
Holt- Yeah,
I'll look up his numbers right now. Hold on.
because Torrey Holt's not in, and he should be in.
Don't get me started on why Torrey Holt's not in. That's the biggest damn joke in history. Also, Jimmy Smith for the Jaguars should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And so
Actually,
should
I agree with that.
it's absurd that he's not in.
All right, so look.
He's got
So-
12,000 yards and 76 touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't know.
77 touchdowns. Sorry. Like I said,
that-
he's borderline. He's
Are
borderline.
they are they Hall of? I don't know what other Hall of Fame numbers are. I mean, I'm sure there's guys. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So let's say 12 seasons. Let's say he plays 2 or 3 more at the most. 15
I
seasons. I
think he's
mean-
got to get to 15,000 yards,
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. He's on the fringe. I think he's on the
especially
fringe.
in this era of football
Yeah,
at wide receiver. I think that's
Yeah.
sort of the gold standard.
yeah.
Anyway, looking
agree.
forward to next week's game. You guys do realize we've got football on Saturday next week.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it starts. Yep.
We got
Yep.
3 games on Saturday. Thursday night, we start off with the Chargers and the Raiders. I am honestly, besides my Broncos in Detroit, like I'm looking forward to Denver, Detroit, obviously. The other game that's got my attention is Minnesota and Cincinnati, right? There's a lot of playoff implications on that game, a lot
Yeah.
on the Denver, Detroit game. I'm watching both those games intensely. Pittsburgh and Indy, that's enough. Saturday is stacked with playoff games, stacked with them. Loser could potentially be out.
Hey, let me just ask this real quick while we're on the topic of Cincinnati and Minnesota, but it's more for the Bengals. Do the Bengals sign Barrow to a $250 million deal, or
Yes, they did. They already did.
do they like this kid Browning enough?
No, they've already signed Burrow to a huge contract.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just saying, is he the? I mean, I'm not saying yes or no. I'm just asking the question.
Look, he's had some bad luck with health, but
That's
also,
what I'm saying. I'm getting there. Yeah, I'm getting at that.
but you keep the kid there. Like you just,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
you got to start getting
Look,
smarter with him in the preseason.
I still like the kid Barrow. He's that dog we're talking about. But I'm just going to say, I'm not saying Browning's better, but I'm just saying Barrow, the injury bug finds him. It always finds him.
I'm going to say there's no way. There's
I'm just asking the question. I'm just asking the question.
there's
That's
not
all.
a chance. There's
Yeah,
not.
there's
a
I
chance.
no
know
way.
it's uncomfortable to ask. I know
No,
it's especially Bengals.
it's not
I'm
even
just asking.
uncomfortable. There's no way that's going to happen. Not a chance.
Okay. All I'm saying is at some point, quarterbacks start to break down.
He's not there yet. He's just had some bad luck, in my opinion.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Straight
Guys-
from your lips. Straight
Yeah.
from your lips.
Guys, that's all I got tonight. You guys got anything else?
No.
No, guys,
Well,
gentlemen, thank you.
I wanna
Awesome show
thank-
tonight.
Thank everybody for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. It really helps the algorithms that we do. Follow us on Twitter, SCM Crew, Ron, of course, Philly Fitter, and Don Wayne at Busted Move. We're out of here.